Hey everybody, my next guest is one of hip-hop's OGs. He and his band Stetsasonic helped pioneer the hip-hop genre into what it has become today. Hailing from Brooklyn, New York, he has conquered the music industry, not only as an artist, but as a mogul that helped launch industry heavyweights like Mary J. Blige, Queen Latifah, Master P, and De La Soul. Here he is, folks, the legendary Professor Daddy O. Daddy O, what's up, man?
Salute, 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 salute.
How you been, man?
I'm good, Don. I'm good, man. I'm maintaining. Been rapping a lot, been thinking a lot, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of, framing what like the next 50 years of hip hop looks like to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, right on. Because you've been with it pretty much from Jump Street. I mean, hip hop has the birthday, 19
Right.
August 1973, and you've been around it since like in
I mean,
79.
I guess 79, like I started ingesting what it could be. I really didn't start formulating the group till around 81. We started playing around, like possibly having a group and putting members in it and stuff like that.
Because you came up, because I've been a hip hop fan too for a long time. I went to I told you I was this before. I'm from Brentwood, so I
Right.
went my Boy
Yeah.
Scout troop.
Right,
Paris
right,
Smith's
right.
dad was my
Yeah,
troop,
yeah,
and
yeah. Right.
Paris was older than us, and he would, so he's the first person that ever taught me how to rap before I even knew what rap was around the campfire in Boy
Right,
Scouts
right.
back in the days. So, but you came up like through the kind of like I would say the golden era of hip hop when hip hop was starting to really break into mainstream conscious with like with UMTV raps and all of those types of
Right,
things
right,
pushing
right.
it, and the first hip hop band.
Well, here's how it started. Heard you on the radio talking about rap, saying all that about how we sample. Give an example.
I mean, early on, rappers didn't know how to make records, right? Because we coming out of the park. So basically, I always quote Run DMC, like Run's got a routine they did, but then they made it a record. It's called Live. Here we go, live at the Funhouse.
Right,
And
yeah,
Run said, if you say you heard my rhyme, we're gonna have to fight because I just made the motherfucker up last night. Like that was the modus operandi, like however that said. Like the issue was to have something fresh every day.
right,
So records was a whole different thing because records meant like one thing that was gonna play over and over. And we wasn't in the mind state of like some of the R&B and pop artists that was already kind of making songs and putting choruses in them and all of that kind of stuff. So in the very beginning, a lot of those rap records that you hear, they might be 12, 13 minutes long. Because
right.
basically that was just cats doing routines that they always did on the street and just putting it on wax. By the time we came along, I think it was changing a little bit. And it was Tom Silverman that told us that we even needed a hook because the original, I guess you want to call it demo for Just Say Step, which was the first single, didn't have a chorus.
Right.
I just said that line and he said, oh, that line that you say, Daddy-O, it might be a good hook. And
Right.
we was like, okay, let's try it. And we tried it.
But if you find Stetsasonic hard to pronounce, learn how to say it and fix your mouth. Cause as superstars, we earn respect. And go into our head, we won't let. If you can't say it all, just say step.
But like we just didn't know what to do. So like those early days was very like, and I don't know if it ever should have stopped, but those early days was very experimental. Like we really were figuring out everything. Like how do we record our stuff in a studio?
Right.
How do we perform on the stage with the stuff that we do? Because we're not singing, we're not playing guitars and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like how do
Right.
we? So we was really kind of figuring that out. Like that was, and then the other thing I think, I mean, it's probably a bunch, but one of the other things I think was key about that time, and I talk about that now when I contrast it to us now, was proximity.
Right. Yeah.
All around each other.
Right.
And so that led to like really good music, like you know what I mean, like good kind of thing, because we was around each other to bounce off of each other. And you know, that's just it's definitely not a truism of today. You know,
Yeah.
I'm in one place, Kane's in another place, Light's in another place, LL's in another place. Like everybody's all scattered, you know what I'm saying? But in the past, we was all together. So that was a whole nother thing because it was a movement, right? It was like, I say this all the time. Hip hop was already a culture before anybody started rapping.
Right.
Hip
Yeah.
hop culture was already, the rapper came last. It was already a culture before it started rapping. The cool thing about what you call a golden age is those other elements of hip hop was also brought along. Because if somebody wasn't doing a video with graffiti behind them, they were doing, they had clothes on with the Shirt Kings or something.
Right. Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And then they either had dancers in their video or dancers on stage with them, right? And everybody had a DJ. So
Yeah.
all the elements were there in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, yes, rap. I don't know if rap took a. I'm trying to figure this out now. Like I've been going through my head. Did rap take like I don't know, a undue front seat? Because remember, when it comes down to the music in the beginning, the DJ had the front seat.
To all the people out there listening to this program at this time, I'd like to thank the people at Cutting Edge for giving me this chance to demonstrate what the whole world wants to know exactly. What is break mixing?
Right. And then the MC.
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Like,
Right.
it was always the DJ, and then, you know, he brought the rapper with him.
Right. Right. Yeah. The DJ was the star or the lead.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And so I don't know if it's an undue thing for rap to be the lead or not. I mean, did I benefit from it? I guess I did, and I guess I do. But the other elements of the culture are now really thin. You know, you don't see that in the music that people still classify because you don't really have a choice, depending on who you are. If you just an innocent bystander, you don't know the difference between Heavy D and Future.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That ain't your thing. Somebody say hip hop, it's just hip hop. So if somebody say hip hop and then first thing you hear is Sexy Red, then that's what you're gonna think hip hop is.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like there's no differentiating factor, and the reason is because there's no cultural check. You know what I mean? So you know that's a tough one. You know what I mean? Like how, because I, even if I thought about it, like how would I try to even bring graffiti back into the conversation, or you know what I mean? Like that's just it's a weird thing. But I know that the culture suffers when the other elements are not there.
Blaming Illuminati for loss, rejecting Jesus' work on the cross, not paying knowing you know, pretending you don't read what you sow.
Yeah, because it's like for people just who might not know, for listening right now, there's like the four main kind of pillars of hip hop is
Right.
DJing, MCing,
Right.
breakdancing, and graffiti. That's kind of
Yeah.
like the
Yeah,
overall
exactly.
pillars
Yeah,
of
so
it.
I mean, so without those other pillars there, do you really have hip hop? You probably got hip hop music, but you really might not possibly have hip hop. And I think part of that is okay because it means that rap took off and like this style that we created in the Bronx, and then you know further on to you know go throughout the boroughs and beyond the boroughs and stuff. It's kind of cool that it took off. It's kind of cool that the art form took off. You know,
Right,
that
right.
makes you happy. But the flip side of it is, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, what are we talking about? Authenticity and that kind of stuff.
Right. And like I said too, what I loved about the golden era, and you talk about like experimenting and all that kind of stuff, is that there was a sense of innocence to it all. You were figuring out as you went along. You were like literally paving the way for these for the rappers and the way it all
Right.
turned into today. You guys
Right.
were making the mistakes or making the solutions uh, for them to learn from. You know, for the next
Right.
generations, like the Biggies and the Tupacs, they all
Yeah.
came after
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and then after them, the DMXs, and then the Jay Zs, and on and on, right? So it's crazy, like that. You know how this all formed. You look at like the beginning, 1973, in the party
Right.
with Cool Herc, and then
Right.
to how it evolved. It's just amazing to me, and I always am so inspired by the fact that in the Bronx, this this was born in the borough of the Bronx during a really hard time in the
Right.
ghetto, and it became a cultural revolution that's become tied into the fabric of America
Right.
today.
Right.
Like, you know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
It's an inspiration, man.
No, it's a story, man. I mean, hip hop is definitely a journey. I think looking at those kids like Flash and all of them, that was in the Bronx and how their life was, and the fact that they just wanted to have some fun, like they needed a break from everything else that was happening. And music was always a great outlet, but it was just like they made it our music. Like, what I'm saying? It was like we didn't really have no music. Pre us was disco. And
Right.
disco didn't belong to us. You know what I mean? And it was like we really didn't have much in terms of that, like kind of like youth oriented, youth driven kind of music. And those guys, by what they was doing with the records and how with the records that they was choosing to play and all of that kind of stuff. And then later on, the guys that would pick up the mic and start rapping to that stuff. You know what I mean? It really was just it really was about having kind of your own space in, like, I don't want to say society because it wasn't really society yet, but even having your own space in the neighborhood as a young person.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there
Exactly.
was other people in the neighborhood that was older than us and older than them that, they wasn't really into music like that and all of that. You know what I mean? But and it gave like I said, the culture was already there. So it wasn't only people listening to music or rapping, it was people wearing, dope clothes and all,
Yeah.
all of that was part of what it was. And then you end up, I'm talking about even if you ain't even rapping or you ain't even a DJ or dancer or nothing like that. You get fresh, you put on your Adidas with your fast strings, whatever, boom, and you
Yeah.
go to the block party and you have fun. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was just a cultural issue. So I believe that the people that was, putting the parties on was having just as much fun as the people who was at the parties.
Right.
Because it
Yeah.
was just like you said, it was like more of a cultural revolution and for whatever few hours that was, you know what I mean? People felt like, oh man, this was for me. This made me feel good.
You know, it's cool too. It back then too. It was such a great time period where even when before Stet blew up, and I'm repping Stet right now, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, I like that shirt, brother.
Yeah,
Like that shirt.
yeah. Before Stet blew up, and before a lot of groups from your era blew up, I don't know if you were motivated by money or just for the love of the music. And I think that's the big difference. Is it was more the love of the music because you didn't know that there was potential to become a
No,
millionaire. Or
nobody thought about that. I mean, in the very, very beginning, there was no money on the table unless there was like money on the table for a battle, and maybe
right,
somebody
right,
said, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be a battle," and then there's a $500 purse or $100 purse or something like that. But there was no real money in it. It was really more of a status kind of thing.
yeah,
Once you started doing it, once you started rapping, or once you started DJing, or once you started dancing, or once you started painting, you know what I mean? Writing, that's what they call it, writing. You know
right,
what I mean? Then it's like now it's about excelling to the top of that class
right,
of
yeah,
writing, or the top of that class of dancers, or the top of that class of DJs. You know what I mean? So that's that that was the motivation, was to be at the top.
Yeah.
It was something somebody talked about in high school on Monday or something like that. It didn't get to the radio, it wasn't no radio or none of that. It was all word of mouth, but yeah, and then tape started floating around.
Yep.
That was dope, because when the tape started floating around, that's how guys like me got to really know the Cold Crush. I was in Brooklyn.
Right. That's how.
You know what I
That's
mean?
before the internet. People passed
Yeah,
around mixtapes, blend
exactly. So
tapes.
then,
Yeah.
yeah. So then I got to know Cold Crush, Fantastic, Macedon, and them all of that through tapes.
Well, I'm the M. Like all the pretty girls, I serve your monkey ass like Earl the Pearl.
Cold Crush, I'm not the cast or GMC. I'm gonna stick it on the board, man. Can't you see?
We have to come to an agreement who's gonna survive the Cold Crush 4 or the Fanta Defy.
The cultural aspect, again, it just kind of relates back to the cultural aspect. It was a wholeness. It's a wholeness to the cultural aspect. And when you extract just the rap, I think it suffers a little bit to just be rap.
Yeah, because like you said, through time, if you think about it, through the evolution of hip hop, we have seen less of all the other pillars, less graffiti,
Right.
less of the dancing, and some of it's become, to this new generation, like cliche, like, oh, if you show the graffiti or the
Yeah,
dancing,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then now even the DJs. I mean, you'll still hear the DJ, you'll still hear records and the scratching and mixing and all that, but there's no emphasis like there used to be.
There's no
Some on the
focus,
producer, I guess.
Yeah. And that's what I think. That's what I've been pondering, like thinking about, like, how do we, what's the answer to that? You know what I mean? Like, how do you do that? Because again, like I said earlier, I don't think it's a marketing thing where you start marketing graffiti or marketing, breakdancing or nothing like that. I don't think it's that kind of thing, but I feel like just elementally, and it's interesting because in what you call a golden era, like I said, it wasn't like people full on like was on stage and then they had a graffiti writer in the back making a piece while they rap.
Right.
Wasn't like that. Or they was on stage rapping and graffiti. Break dancers was on. Only certain people had dances.
Right.
A lot of people didn't have no dances.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the elements still existed.
Right.
And the presence of the elements still existed. And that's what I'm talking about. Everybody's not going to be the same anyway. We never had no dancers because there was too many of us anyway.
Right. Yeah. Well, you had the full band, and you guys were running. You guys took the stage.
Yeah.
Like you all over,
So
like it was a show.
we didn't have no dancers. You know what I mean? But I believe hip hop was represented, culturally.
Oh, for sure.
So,
and I still think that it is there. It's just not, like you said, prevalent as much. I think there's still homages to graffiti writers and all that stuff.
Right.
See their artwork and stuff, but it's not like, again, even music videos aren't what they used to be. So I'm not like, as far as like Yo MTV Raps or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, I think it would be good to kind of introduce it back into the fabric of it again.
Just culturally, I think it's the essence of, and I don't even know if that's academia or not, but I do think that it's the essence of understanding what hip hop is culturally versus calling hip hop music.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because it's bigger than music. It's bigger than
it's much bigger than music. It was a cultural wave. I think it's still a cultural wave. But I think that the distinct thing to think about is, in what you call a golden era, hip hop maintained its own individuality. So, like, yes, maybe I probably wouldn't buy them, but yes, maybe a Louis Vuitton Timberland is hip hop, maybe.
Right.
Because they getting their whole style from hip hop and boom, boom, boom. Right. But like some of the stuff that these guys be wearing, and just because it's designer, that stuff got nothing to do with it. Like hip hop hip hop is about manipulation. And I don't, I'm not, people hear that word, it's always a bad word, but that's not what the word really means.
Right.
You know, you manipulate when you work with clay, you manipulate damn clay.
Right.
But hip hop is manipulation. Hip hop is taking records that wasn't really made to rap on, backspinning them and rapping on top of them, right? Hip hop is that kind of thing. Like we can make stuff. We usually make stuff. So that's where I think the rubber meets the road. Like it's got to be about something we make. I, I just I got to be brutally honest. Is that because it can't be just records, right? But I don't know. You know what I mean? And maybe we haven't. You know, they say everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Yeah.
haven't come to that point of the circle yet.
Right. But it could be coming soon.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
And you could be kind of ahead of the curve trying to make it happen.
I mean, I love it. I you know, like I said, when I look at it and I listen, because I listen to everything, right? So I'm listening to everything. Like today, my man is working on something, and he asked me. He said, "Man, I need a theme song, or I don't know what he said. He said I need a track for this gaming league that he's doing, and it's called Ultimate something." And immediately in my mind, I thought of the Ultimate Three MCs,
Oh yeah.
and I went, I sampled it. But I listened to the whole record and I was like, wow, these are kind of like some of the songs that people don't even know existed.
Yeah.
What we gonna do about the ugly girls? We should put them all on one side of the world. When they go at night, yes, they pray to have fun. They should stick their face in dirt, try to grow a new one. I'm not trying to say that I'm a Prince Charming, but they see their ugly face is so damn alarming. Cause prettiness happens to be God's gift. So won't you save up your money and have a facelift? What are we gonna do about it? What are we gonna do about it?
You know, like those kind of records, those strictly New York rap records, like Ultimate Three MCs and stuff like that. You know, Sweet G and all of that. They don't know those records. You know what I mean? But those was the records that kind of shaped what things were coming along. So I listened to those. I listened to the new stuff. I listened to all of that. And I think that there is a thread, but I just think that if I'm saying this right, I'm trying not to be disrespectful. Maybe it needs to be woven a little more or woven a little better.
Right. How important do you think it is for MC, especially rap performers, with MCs, rappers of today, to know the history? To like, because I feel like I feel like that's another thing that's starting to get lost is also the history or the importance of history for new artists, like young cats, like 20-something-year-olds coming in, or even younger, that they don't really know the history. Like, you know, they might not even
Right.
know who Grandmaster Flash is, or
Right,
Melvin
right.
L.
I think if you want to last, you'll do it. I mean, if you don't care about, if you want to just get in for a good 4 to 6 years, make some money, get on rolling out, make a bunch of money, do some endorsements, and then die down, and then you putting out records, but they ain't never as hot as the ones that you did in that 6 years. But you still making money, you still touring. If that's what you want to do, then you ain't got to learn nobody history. But if you want to last and actually have a like I'm talking about a career that goes down in history, I don't know who believes in accolades, but stuff like Grammys and not to even say I buy into it, but I'm just saying stuff like Grammys and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and those kind of things.
Right.
Then you need to know history. It's
Yeah.
not going to work out for you. You're never going to be known for as long as we have a music business. I don't know if we even have one, but for as long as you have a music business, you're never going to be known as that dude or that girl or that group, unless you study and work the longevity angle.
Right. Yeah, I think it's important.
Because,
I think it's
if you
important.
don't do that,
Yeah.
you won't survive.
Right on, man. And now, what do you think of like today's hip hop? I mean, like I think we've getting almost back to real MCing again. Real lyricists are starting to take the forefront, and it felt like we kind of slipped a little bit, but now it's back on its wheels. What's your take on today's hip hop scene?
Well, I think one of the things I say all the time is that, a lot of times people don't put consideration into numbers. What do I mean by that? I mean that, there's more people now. There's more people on the planet, more people that are aware of it, more people that are tuning into it, right? So hip hop, the expansion of it and the broadness of it can be seen now. You can hear, rappers in every language. You can hear like a whole bunch of other stuff going on. American radio and sad to say, sometimes Spotify and Apple Music kind of lean toward that way too. So once in a blue moon, a record might viral itself through.
Right, yeah.
But for the most part, they still playing like a very dangerous, syndicated game where all the playlists are the same and all of those things. So that is probably all based on consumers and income and all of that.
Right.
But I think that I don't think the rappers ever stop rapping. It's just I think that they're starting to learn, like we did in the beginning, how to make records.
Right. Yeah.
So people like Doechii and them is learning how to make records that hangs out with Daylight. That be with because the battle rappers always been the best rappers.
Yeah, I mean they're double triple entendres.
This shit is hot as a fire. Require aqua. I'm Aquaman, Aquafina. Stop the man called Katrina. Demeanor of all demeanors. We milk them like Altadena. No ultimatums, you Altimas. Bullets go through your Nissan.
So now what's happening is that battle rappers are learning how to make records.
Yeah. And
I told this to people 6-7 years ago. I said in 7-8 years, battle rap is gonna be at the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they do that same. If you say you heard my rhyme, I'm gonna have to fight. They do the same thing. They write all the time. And that's where it's like, come on, you gotta put the man hours in. You have to do it.
Yeah, and that's why I think with battle rap too, and you talk about the battle rap scene, I think that's where a lot of the most clever lyrics kind of come from. And then I think, rappers that may not be battle rappers kind of take from this, like the double entendres, triple entendres, the wordplay, that sort of thing, I think started to kind of segue into it.
I put this nigga cold in a coma, cold as an ice pack. He on life support. They trying to preserve a vegetable. He need a life pack. I might snap with tools blamming. Crescent moon when I shoot cannons. I see an alien, I'ma kneel with my arms strong while the moon lands.
And then also I feel like the battle rap keeps it pure. It really separates the real MCs from the
I mean,
ones.
you gotta know what you're doing, right? So I think that's one of the things that's happening with today's, like a lot of today's hip hop records. Like, the battle rappers are learning how to make records. So, if they, that's a great thing because now you get the what might be called a jazz effect, right? You get the dope MC with the dope music.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Like so but yeah, I mean, it's always changing. There's a lot of the there's a lot of the new rappers that I like and they ratchet as hell. Like they just rap, they be saying rap, you know what I mean? But I kind of enjoy it. It's kind of fun. Maybe it's more. I think it's more because I'm a rapper and I see what they doing with it. You know what I mean? I look at them like? And I've learned to put. What I've learned to do is I learned to put rap in categories.
Right.
And so that's made it easy for me because I'm not gonna look for one rapper to give me what I know another one can.
Right. Yeah. So if you're looking for lyrics, you'll go to like
I'll go to exactly. Yeah, I know what to look for. I know what buckets to put them in. Now, sometimes do I mix it up and just listen to it all together on shuffle? Of course I do because they all records I like. You know what I mean? But you know, I find myself having to like put them into categories.
And that's good too, that you still kind of keep the pulse on hip hop. You're not just only listening to the glory days. You're listening to the new stuff. You have a real open mind about it, which I think is pretty awesome. And do you view, because I know you're still in the game, still still putting out records all the time, some
Right.
dope stuff. I helped you some
And
videos,
absolutely.
but do you look at these new cats as competition, or do you how do you view the new sounds that have come up? Like, do you say to yourself, I'm better than that kid, or do you just take it
No,
like,
no. I think it's definitely. I think I worked it up to it being competition. Like when I first, so I had this journey. Started this journey with my band Stetsasonic, probably 82, 83, really kind of solidly forming. 84, we put out our first record. I think 85, first album. 88, second album. 91, third album. And then in 93, I put out a solo album. And then I stopped making records, right, for a while. And so when I call myself picking up the mic again, I got that from boxing. When I picked up the mic again in 2016, I had a little plan in terms of, what I was doing. And I've done 6 albums and I'm about to drop number 7.
nice,
But
man.
what I learned is, and I said it in one of my records, the last joint, actually it's the last video that you helped us out with. And it was, I said, used to make songs for his parents. Now I make songs with Kendrick.
Yeah.
So I started off with this whole non-competitive, I only make records for, 35, 37 up, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But as time went on, I started realizing that I might be looking at it a little limited.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because why not? So this question started hitting me, like, why not compete?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why not compete? And so, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, a couple of these little guys are tough. They tough. They not unbeatable.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I haven't
love
seen
it,
that
man.
yet. I haven't seen that yet. Like, I seen that a couple of times, but not in them. Like it's a couple of my peers that I'm like, I need to leave this guy alone. Like, who wants to get into like a real battle with Kane? Like, who wants to do that?
Right.
Like, fucking nobody. Like, no, don't do it, bro. Don't fucking do it to yourself.
Sun go down, I turn on like park lights. Time to let the world see the new Dark Knight. Now introduce Kane as the new Bruce Wayne, and watch me drop jewels like Bruce parents did.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Like, if he's serious about the shit,
yeah,
he will tear you apart.
Yeah, man.
You're not gonna beat him. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like some of those guys are like that, man. So, but I don't know if any of this new generation is like that. Like, I could look at them and say, "Oh, you're just not gonna beat him." Like, no. Somebody could ruffle it here, and boom, boom, and get in there and make it work.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but when you look at like a Kendrick and what just went down, where he made Not Like Us, it won a Grammy. It's the diss record for Drake. For those who don't know, it wins a Grammy. He performs at the Grammys. Everybody sings along with it. Then he plays it at the Super Bowl, and everyone's yelling A minor. I mean, to me, that might be the biggest rap battle victory of all time on that level. What say you, who been around the block a few times?
You're right. It's just that it's one piece that everybody's forgetting. If you add BBL Drizzy in the bunch, Kendrick had about 6 records. So he had 5 records leading up to Not Like Us. Nobody in the history of recorded music has had a walk-up on a record like that.
Right,
it starts off with a song on a Future album, and he says, forget the big 3, it's only Big Me. Then J. Cole jumps in, says something, then J. Cole jumps back out. And then Kendrick throws a barrage of bullets at Drake with help of records like BBL Drizzy, and then Not Like Us dropped.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's cute that people will say, "Oh, not like us, not like us, not like us." It wasn't just not like us. It was Meet the Grams. It was all that other stuff that he did
Right.
that led up to Not Like Us, that made Not Like Us. Because listen, one thing you got to know about these real rappers, like Kendrick is one of them, Cole, a few of them, they have to decidedly, intentionally, that's the word I'm looking for. They have to intentionally make records you can dance to.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Because most of that shit they make is listening shit.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's more who they are. They just lyricists, and it's not about dance music. It's not about that for them. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what makes Not Like Us so special, because he knew exactly, it's like he knew perfectly what he was doing. He did all those other records, giving you talk about this one and saying things about the guy and all of this and all of that. He gives you all of that just as food for thought and for you to say, "Oh man, did you hear what he said? Oh man, did you?" And then he drops that beat.
Right. Yeah.
And he knows people are gonna dance to that beat.
Yep. Yep. It's brilliant. It was a brilliant move to take this guy down.
First of all, Mustard is dope as hell. And then the West Coast is always good for one, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't count. The West Coast is always one. Yo, bro, it might not even be constant, but something's gonna happen, and you're gonna get a too short blow your whistle.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like something's gonna happen, and you're gonna get a gin and juice.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? The West Coast gonna always somebody gonna come with some shit, and it's gonna be stomping, bro. It's gonna be stomping. Look at the boy that they killed, Nipsey Hussle.
Oh yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they always gonna come. So Mustard, they knew what they was doing. I felt that energy because I say, yo, it's just young LA energy. Like, yo, we got one, bro. You know what I mean? And it's different when you come from LA because hip hop didn't start there.
Right, right.
LA's always been fighting to even be included in the conversation.
Yeah.
You understand? And that's why they was dropping the joints where they was dropping the joints, because like, you're gonna notice who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? And so they was due for it, man. It was like they was due for it. Like, yo, like we ain't had a joint, we ain't had a LA head buster in a while, yo.
Yeah, yeah, they would do, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? A wow. And they like, yo, let's do this. Like, boom, boom. And I know Kendrick in there listening to the beats with Mustard. He's like, yo, that's the one right there.
They not like, 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 they not like.
Do you think this changed the way battles will be like in the future now? Like, do you think people are going to be thinking in terms of like using this as a template? What Kendrick did, like, okay, how could I achieve that if I'm going to battle such and such?
I mean, I guess if people like it, I think the thing with the Kendrick and Drake thing was unique because of the size of the artists.
Yeah, they're both
huge.
Huge.
You got something going on between Jimmy and Cam right now, but it's mad small. Like, nobody really knows. Only those of us that like the two of them know what's happening.
Right, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, they going at it. You know what I mean? But you don't really know, because on that rap level, Jimmy and Cam ain't that big. They not big like Drake and Kendrick.
Right, not like pop sensations.
Yeah. So I think the question is more, can it be used? I don't think it can. Like I said, my thing is, I'm looking at the whole thing. So are you going to start off this? Because if you want to try to do what he did, you got to do it all. So you got to start off dissing a guy on somebody else's record.
Right, yeah.
Waiting for the guy to say something. Then diss the guy 3 or 4 more times on 4 separate pieces of media, and then make a hit. Like, right. If you want to try to make that a template, you can, I was thinking about it because I was saying, can you do that with a real record? Like, can you tease something and then boom, boom, boom? And can you work a record? Like, can you do? I was thinking that 2 days ago.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what
because
I'm saying?
you probably could, like, like you said, if the way he did it was he dropped, like you said, the three before, right? He did four
Yeah,
total disc
yeah,
tracks, but each one planted the seed for the next one. So like they were all continued on. So like if you
exactly.
and then when by the payoff, like you said, you dance into it and all
Yeah,
that stuff,
yeah,
and so it's a pop hit, goes in the mainstream, wins
yeah,
Grammys. It was just crazy. So yeah, I guess there's a way there's something there to
yeah,
use. I think as far
yeah,
as the
yeah.
template goes.
And the other thing is maybe making a template might be a new thing because maybe it wasn't a template for them. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I thought about it earlier and I said, there's a good chance they didn't know that all of this was going to happen. There's a really, really good chance that like they wanted to do something. He did it. They heard it. But in terms of it going that far, I don't know if if he knew it was going to go that far.
Yeah, I think it was, I think I like to think he just wanted to win the battle, and then it organically just
Yeah,
he
exactly.
turned into this juggernaut, and
Yeah.
How many people think Kendrick Lamar is one of the greatest motherfuckers to ever touch a fucking microphone? Dreamville, y'all love Kendrick Lamar, correct? As do I. I say all that to say it made me feel like 10 years ago when I was moving incorrectly. And I pray that God align me back up on my purpose and on my path. You know what I mean? I pray that my nigga really didn't feel no way. And if he did, my nigga, I got my chin out. Take your best shot. I'm gonna take that shit on the chin, boy. Do what you do.
And do you think J. Cole was smart to get out of that whole thing in the
Um,
beginning?
I always thought that I always thought that he was smart to get out of it. Because I said that Cole is in a place where, regardless of regardless of what people feel about him bowing out, because I've always been like when people, in terms of records, I've always been a Cole over Kendrick, always.
Yeah, yeah.
But I said I thought it was smart because it it might have gone beyond his boundaries.
Right.
Right. And so I think he wanted to kind of keep his base, keep the people that love him, and not have any interruptions. And I think he did the right thing because Drake participating created an interruption for him.
Right, for his career path.
Well, yeah. So now it's like, there's an album. I mean, maybe it works because he's got an album coming out with Party Next Door. I guess that's the next record. But that being involved just kind of it hurt him.
Do you think it's this is gonna kill Drake's career, or do you think he'll survive?
I don't think. Let me say what I do think. I don't think it should have the ability to kill Drake's career. I don't see fairness in that. I don't see music industry fairness in that. So I don't think it should have the ability to kill Drake's career. But then Drake's got to figure that part out because if Drake would have played the Samantha Carpenter role the whole time, he wouldn't even be in this mess. But he's in it because he's playing in the pop area. But then he talks bullyish on records. He starts rapping like a fucking bully, and that's somebody gonna call you out. You know what I'm saying? So now he just got to decide on. I think he can do it. But he got to decide on what kind of records he's gonna make, and as to whether or not people ever want to hear him rap again. People might just want to hear him do sing-songy shit and whatever, but nobody might not even want to hear him rap again. Yeah. But if that happens, that's his fault.
Right. Yeah, I think he's got to do some kind of damage control. I haven't really heard much since all this been popping, like from him, from his camp or
Yeah.
anything, as far as Kendrick winning Grammys and the Super Bowl.
Right,
I mean,
right,
two
right,
gigantic, monumental
right.
moments.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's responded, on Twitter or anything.
No, he hasn't talking about nothing. He's talking about his own stuff. He's just talking about the
Right,
stuff he's about to put out.
right. But rap battles have been such a part of the hip hop culture forever, and
Fabric.
yeah, the fabric forever. And some of my favorite ones are, I put together a top five because I love top fives.
Okay.
So tell me what you think of these. These are in no particular order, but these are the top
Okay.
five ones. So, and I think are really important to everything. LL Cool J versus Kumo D. Those were
Okay.
epic. KRS One, MC Shan.
Yep,
That's
that's
like
good.
probably one of the first kind of one that broke the
Yeah,
mainstream.
public, right?
Yeah. 50 Cent versus Ja Rule, because 50
Yeah.
I think 50 kind of ruined his
Yeah,
career.
yeah, yeah.
Biggie versus Tupac. That
Of course.
obviously the infamous
Sad,
one.
but yeah.
Yeah. But Tupac's
Hit him
answer.
up.
Yeah, oh
Yeah,
my
hit him up
God.
is crazy.
That's probably the most brutal
Yeah, it's hard.
battle rap I've ever heard. And then Nas versus Jay-Z, where I think Nas,
Right.
the Ether was just epic and changed the game of the
Yeah,
battle.
that's a good top five. I mean, there's some southern ones that even you and I don't really know about. Like I'm talking about like New Orleans and all that. Like we don't know who was going, because some of those records, I hear like even some of those records we love was like aimed at somebody else.
Yeah, you
We
hear
don't
that.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we don't know those are like in Texas and all that. But we don't know those artists.
right.
So we don't know that like that record came out. We like the record, but the record was, might have been at somebody, but we don't know that it was at them.
That's crazy too. Like that some of these songs that you're talking about that you might not know is a battle rap song or that was
Right.
targeting somebody becomes a hit and nobody knows it. Like like a Mama Says
Yeah.
Knock You Out or something. Like people
Yeah.
it's a battle rap song and they just love the
Right. Yeah.
Don't you dare, you better move. Don't ever compare. Beat to the rest that all get sliced and diced. Competition paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out.
But yeah, I mean, but I always say this, and I still say it. Competition is the cornerstone of hip hop. I've always said that.
Truth.
You know what I mean? And so when we did it, DJs DJ to beat the other DJ, dancers dance to beat the other dancer, graffiti writers went on to blows and all that bullshit, writing over people's stuff and all of that. But you still wanted to be the flyest.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with rap. So, we garner on competition. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when we competitive, we actually sound horrible, I think.
Yeah. I think that
you
competitive
wanna-
edge.
Yeah, the competition is what makes us sound good.
Right on.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, have you or Stetsasonic ever had rap beefs? And
we had that one with Rex in Effect. Well, we had a few. We actually, what's so crazy? When EPMD made It's My Thing, we actually made a record called And You Thought It Was Your Thing. An answer. Tommy Boy wouldn't let us put it out.
Why not? Because they didn't want you battling EPMD?
Yeah. But not that they thought we was good. We killed that shit. That shit is dope. And You Thought It Was Your Thing. Because when we perform, we eat shit up. Yo, that shit was crazy, yo.
Did you ever put that out? Is that out there anywhere?
No, we never. Only Paul has it. Prince Paul got it in the vault some fucking place.
Wow, dude, you got to put that out if you can. If you can find it, that'd be dope.
But we had one. Really, it was one-sided because I misunderstood something. But we went in it. We had a little beef with not EPM, but Rex in Effect. And we did a record called Anytime, Any Place on the B-side of Susie.
Oh, really?
And it was because I heard I Kill say something and I misinterpreted it. and I thought he was talking about us, and I went in. We went in on it.
What did he say that you misinterpreted?
He said, and I put it in the beginning of the record. He says, but he told me it meant something else. He meant something else by it. But he said, Stets is the runner up. And by the way, that new kid, yo, he sucks.
Oh, wow,
and so
yeah.
I thought that was after Fuquan was out of the group. So I thought that he was talking about us being a runner up to like some pain that he was going to put down.
Right.
And that Wise was whack. That's what I thought he was saying.
Right.
And so we made a record called Anytime, Any Place. It's on YouTube. It's hard.
I grabbed the mic at a party one day and boom, the dad was on his way. Created my own style and studied a while. You know, Flash, Fantastic Five, the whole pile. Made my way and now I state my case. Anytime, motherfucking yo, any place. You wanna battle? Get the fuck out of here.
So how do you guys settle it? So you talk to Rex and Effects, they say, hey, man.
Yeah, we talked to him. I mean, we had a little standoff at the Marriott Marquis, little hardcore standoff. Had a little talk about it, and now me and Akil is good friends.
Nice, you know, man. That's how it should be, man. Because I feel like even in the regular world, when especially young cats, when you have a fight, whether it's fisticuffs or however it is, I feel like most of the time you come out tighter, like brothers almost.
Yeah. I mean, just because sometimes it's just energy and steam you got to let off.
Exactly, man.
So you just let off the energy and steam and keep it pushing.
And like I said, when you got that competitive edge and you hear Rex and Effects say something about, Stet is the runner up and the new guy, that's going to like, what?
Yeah. I'm like, what?
And back then to do an answer, you have to go into the studio. You have to,
all of that.
Like it's a lot. It's not like today.
It's not like today where you could just go to your bedroom and get on pro. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that at all.
It's a whole process, man. But yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So another thing I wanted to ask you about that's kind of been in the big time news and comes from your kind of generation of hip hop is all the stuff coming down with Diddy, and I just want to get your thoughts on that. I know you and your circle seem to stay away from.
I work with Puff, right? Because I did Mary Records with Puff. I Junior Mafia started in my basement. I did some work with Big with Puff, but the first thing I say to people, and my man was explaining to me why, I said, I don't even know that Puff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it bugged me out. My man was like, no, but you had the Puff that you had, Daddy-O, was like a young, talented, hungry producer.
Right, yeah.
And I said, I guess. You know what I mean? But I don't even really know that Puff. But what I will say is this, like, the industry and entertainment, like the entertainment business, let me say that way. The entertainment business, right, it's always been like, always had its weirdness. You know what I mean? And I think we all were forewarned in the very beginning, which is why that terminology came about when people said, don't go Hollywood.
Right.
Or, somebody dissing you, they say, oh, he went Hollywood on me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we all have been forewarned as to what that could be, what that could lend to our lives or take away from our lives and stuff like that. So a lot of us, like with LA, like I remember and that time that you're talking about, the golden age, when we used to go out there all the time to LA and do shows and da-da-da-da. Most of us didn't want to stay. Most of us went to LA, it was like boom, 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 we coming back home. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't our flow. Like the way LA was doing things and the way we do things, two different things. We come from a concrete jungle kind of grimy city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to say that LA can't be grimy because Watts and all that, but different type of situation. And you gotta realize, even when we went out to LA, we wasn't even really touching the street. When we went out to LA, we were like around entertainment entities and record companies and those kind of people and all of that stuff. I'm just talking about for us, me and my genre.
Right.
at that time. All that stuff felt very phony to us.
Right. Yeah.
But we kind of veered, you know, we stayed clear of it. So you know what I mean? It's like to see this kind of thing happen, but then to also know, like, Puff in his own way, like the nigga went Hollywood, like he went and bought a big house and like, what are you doing? Like, all of that to me contributed to it. Because even if, let's say at the end of the day, he is innocent though, totally innocent. Why you put yourself in LA where they could even get you dragged through that?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Why you even be there for them to lie on you like that?
Right.
You understand what I'm trying to say? You shouldn't have been there, and then they would have never been able to do none of that. You know what I mean? Like, so that's all I'm saying. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that because, like he said, he put himself in the what do you call it? The target. He put himself in the.
We don't do it. Listen, man. We learned our lesson, and you know, do we always want to stay so close to the hip and close to home? No, we don't. But we learned our lesson, man. That, you know, I always used to tell people, and I ain't gonna front. I'll keep it a buck with you. When I used to work at MCA Universal, I used to tell people, if they come in here to get y'all, I'm going with them.
Right.
I'm not staying here with y'all.
Right.
Fuck out of here. Like, I'm not doing that with y'all. Like, because y'all not gonna pretend. If something happened right now to one of my babies or one of my grandbabies, I can't call y'all and tell y'all, yo, I need you to go over there and make sure my grandbabies are straight. It's gonna be them that go for me.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So I can't take. I know where my loyalties lie. You know what I mean? And so you could get to that point where you messing around with that culture so much, that entertainment culture, that they all saying they love you, but you don't know these people.
Yep.
You really don't know these people, man. And that's what I say. So I'm saying, even if Puff is innocent, Puff shouldn't have never been in LA, all of that. Puff should have stayed. He had a Park Avenue apartment. He should have kept that. He should have still been the king of New York. He should have did that.
Well said, man. And truth. And I think, that's another thing that people should learn from, especially if you start to get that kind of Diddy money.
Yeah.
Play it right. Like you said.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Because I'm telling you.
Yep.
But yeah.
Well said. That's why you're the professor, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
I got like I said, I love what you're doing, man. Been a fan my whole life in hip hop, watching
Thank
you guys,
sir.
and it's always an honor to have you on the show. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to working with you on some more projects down the road.
Yeah.
You and
We
Sib, shout out to Sib.
Yeah.
And yeah, man,
it's gonna be good.
All right. So yeah, man, before you go, tell everybody where they can find you and follow you and catch up.
I'm Professor Daddy-O, one word everywhere. We're just Professor Daddy-O, Facebook, Instagram, X. Sounds funny saying X, but X. You know what I mean? All over. I'm Professor, and probably the most important Professor Daddy-O, my band camp.
Oh yeah,
that's
man.
where all the music is.
Yeah, go check it out. Go check out. He's putting out new music all the time, and everyone is bangers, man. And like,
thank you, sir.
Yeah. So thanks again, my friend, and
yes, sir.
We'll catch up with you soon. Daddy-O, everybody, Professor Daddy-O.
Peace.